Hi, I'm Luther Krueger, and I'm going to share some of the top lessons I've learned from visiting over 100 solar cooks from around the world over the past decade. Many of their stories can be found on my non-monetized YouTube channel. If you want to learn from those most experienced in solar cooking, please subscribe and hear their stories and insights. The channel isn't about my work, it's about theirs. They do far more than ever I could accomplish. I learned to cook with the sun over 20 years ago. It's the most fulfilling green activity I can participate in, but I'm also a community organizer at heart. And by nature, I'm a problem definer and solver. In my travels and conversations, I have so much to celebrate and share. But for this conference, I decided to share my druthers. It takes nothing away from the steadfast work all of you and thousands around the world are doing to say there is much room for improvement. Here goes. Upsides of our work and downsides. Problems, but tangible solutions. Primarily, I'm going to be talking about communications. The upside, the message is reaching many people. Someone, somewhere is buying, building, designing, or using a solar cooker every day. One piece of evidence, the growing number of solar cookers that are for sale on e-commerce sites. There's money in it. Maybe not much, but people are buying them. And many designers are offering new ones, it seems like every month. Another piece of evidence is the proliferation of social media posts, groups, and outlets dedicated to solar cooking device designs, promotional strategies, and general tips on cooking with the sun. But sometimes that message that we're trying to convey gets confusing, may be overwhelming, or is diluted. We have at last count over 40 solar cooking Facebook groups. Our colleagues who invent, promote, and use solar cookers are reaching out to their communities. For the most part, this is wonderful. It shows the dedication of the thousands of solar cooking practitioners and newbies. The dozens who have started groups clearly don't want to hide solar cookers as a pastime, or as a concerted green habit at home, or for promoting solar cooking around the world where it is desperately needed. But there is a distinct downside. Many of those I interviewed for my channel have been actively solar cooking for years, but they're not participating in social media groups about solar cooking. Here are some of the reasons. They maybe have joined one group, but they don't know about the other groups. And if they do know of the other groups and join them, they experience occasional reposts across groups, but seldom have a view of all the discussions going on. This can be very frustrating. They may feel like there isn't really as much activity going on as we can demonstrably show. Perhaps they have visited one or more groups, but are unclear which one is right for their needs. Their posts get buried by the defective format of Facebook. This is the fault of Facebook, and the phenomena has been given its own term, overposting. Another reason is maybe they joined a dead group. Maybe it was created years ago. Many groups are not tended to by those who created them, and they join and then nothing happens, so they get discouraged. Perhaps they have joined a private group. Setting a group status to private for a topic, a cause that people want to publicize means that you can't share across the social media universe from that group. If they're a private group, it's the antithesis of network building. I'll go into detail about one situation that illustrates channel dilution. Many of us have invested hours each week to make it work, make Facebook work, but it takes constant attention. Here's just one case out of dozens I run into each week. There could be hundreds more. Brian joins a group and asks if there are others from South Africa there. No response. 9 months later, he asks again, and again, no response. He figures out the many aspects of the problem in one desperate post. He had joined another sluggish group with no joy. He wants to learn and despairs that there may be no one interested in solar cooking in all of South Africa. He knows there is more information and networking to be had, but finds nowhere to turn. Finally, I urged him to join a much larger active group. He heard from several other South Africans within hours. This is all too common of an occurrence on social media. We moderators of the largest groups try to engage new members immediately and keep the discussion focused. We keep the posts free of bots and spam, but we also rely on our thousands of members to bring their friends into the group. Solar cooking groups are not alone in suffering from this effect, which is called channel dilution. Basically, if we have too many ways to communicate, a lot less meaningful communication happens than could. If we are serious about communicating well, we need to retool our social media presence. And the most viable social media outlet for all its faults is Facebook. We also need to post to other media, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, just to name a few examples, but recognize that these outlets are just as vulnerable to channel dilution as Facebook. So what are the solutions? What should we change? These are my own bald-faced opinions, but from what I've heard from my channel guests, they make sense. They will solve the left-outedness of too many groups to choose from, and they will save our next solar cooking enthusiasts a lot of time and aggravation. So here we go. We really need to merge similar groups. The left-outedness factors means if you only join one group, you are missing more than half of the discussions, news, design innovations, and general fellowship that would be the sum of all group members. This includes the Solar Cookers World Network, which is the largest group that is dedicated to solar cooking of all social media outlets. Sending members of private groups to the largest group, many of whom aren't aware that they can't share posts to other like-minded people, to one general purpose group will increase their awareness and ability to promote solar cooking themselves. Regional groups can help their region, the people in their region, most by focusing on solar cooking issues unique to their part of the world. If you are in one of the regions identified in the list of solar cooking Facebook groups, well, sign up for one of them. Promote Solar Cooking in Your Community is a topical group. It provides a forum for those who would venture out and promote solar cooking, whether it's cold calling or the warm calling of community events, school and church groups, parks, even just in your own backyard. Just one other example, there are many more, but the Solar Cooking DIY, do-it-yourself, is a venue for the tinkerers in all of us. If a successful DIY plan comes out of the discussion there, it can and should be shared with the worldwide network. So the bottom line is, we have a problem. No one intended for it to happen. It's a problem of communications, well known in the world of study of communications, and that is the left-outedness of multiple ways of communicating. These are simple steps that we can take to assure that those who sign up for more solar cooking information and advice are not inadvertently left out of the many conversations that are taking place. Here are some of the lessons I've learned from my trips around the country and my Zoom calls across the world. First of all, be a solar cook. Set an example. Be circumspect about promoting solar cooking if you aren't actually practicing this habit yourself. Being in a country overflowing with the so-called riches of natural gas and an omnipresent electric grid is no excuse for letting your solar cookers gather dust in the closet. And a word to the wise for solar cooking promoters overseas, my globe-trotting video guests assure me that you will be asked if you use these devices at home. If you haven't been asked this, you probably haven't gotten their full attention. Hopefully your answer will be yes as often as possible when there's sunlight. Don't be a passive proponent. The developed world is in as much a dire situation with climate change as Tuvalu or Nepal or Kenya. We just don't feel as much pain or see the worst effects of deforestation and river worms and armed conflicts that they may experience. In sum, if you want others to adopt solar cooking, we need to lead by example. Another issue, We need to collaborate more. Don't compete with other groups, collaborate. There are few us versus them camps in the solar cooking community. For example, two distinct camps that are often at odds with each other are the solar thermal and the PV to electric cooking groups. More than one PV cooking system maker has stated solar thermal is dead. One went so far as to tell me that solar thermal is buggy whip technology. Many solar thermal cooking proponents say PV systems aren't really solar cooking. They're cooking with batteries. They're cooking with electricity. But we should embrace any viable solar cooking method that saves forests, prevents waterborne and respiratory diseases, spares refugees from a violent fate. Both thermal and PV capture solar energy and displace polluting fossil fuels. Both reduce or halt deforestation. Both can pasteurize water. To omit either means of cooking, both are extremely effective, notwithstanding their weaknesses. To omit them leaves our community with incomplete toolboxes. I like to say, if it starts with the sun and ends with cooked food, or pasteurized water, or dried vegetables, fruits, herbs, then it's solar cooking, and everyone wins when we practice it. A lesson from the makers. David Chalker likes to say, and I agree with him, no sun, no fun, no food. If at all possible, you who make solar cookers, make them a hybrid. David, Johan van Wyck, and others have shown that it is not complicated to add electric heating elements to any box cooker. Steve Harrigan shows that with basic skills in metalwork, a rocket stove can turn a basic cooker into a round-the-clock appliance. Clement Masonda has added a gas backup to his Heliac cooker to make it useful even on cloudy days. These and other hybrid innovations mean that families can continue cooking when the sun is blocked, whether it's by clouds or by the planet. You're on the wrong side of the planet, it's night, while using far less wood or biomass when the sun is absent. Lastly, don't be isolated. Find allies. Reach out. Makers and power users, past, present, and future. We have allies, many of whom we haven't met. Whenever I connect with climate activists, renewable energy associations, and environmental justice advocates, they almost never have heard of solar cooking. But when they do, they immediately understand that it is one key piece to the puzzle of their outreach. It increases their credibility in their spheres of influence. It advances their mission. Recently, the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, esrag.org, joined clean cooking NGOs to find ways solar cookers could be added to their rocket stoves and far less appropriate LP gas cookers. Changing the mindset of these groups is slow, but it is sure. Don't give up on or claim to be too busy to form new collaborative ventures with the green community. These are only a few of the lessons I learned from each of over 100 solar cooks that I've spoken with over the past 4 years. You may come to the same conclusions as you visit with them on my channel. And I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you, whether we agree or disagree. We all have the same mission in mind.